The United States of America. 3.8 million square miles. 50 states. One of the most geographically diverse nations on Earth. From frozen tundra to scorching desert, from towering mountain peaks to vast flat plains. Today, we're taking a whirlwind tour across the entire country. Buckle up. Let's start from the sky. The continental United States, also called the Lower 48, stretches from the Atlantic Ocean in the east to the Pacific Ocean in the west, and from Canada in the north to Mexico in the south. Add Alaska in the northwest corner of North America and Hawaii out in the Pacific, and you've got 50 states total. The US is the third largest country in the world by area, after Russia and Canada. It shares land borders with just two countries, Canada to the north and Mexico to the south, and is flanked by two of the world's great oceans. Let's begin our journey in the northeast, the most densely populated region of the country. This is where America's story really begins. Colonial settlements, the Revolutionary War, the birth of a nation. The Northeast is home to the Appalachian Mountains, one of the oldest mountain ranges on Earth, stretching from Alabama all the way up into Maine. They're not the tallest peaks in the country, but they shaped early American history. For centuries, they acted as a natural barrier to westward expansion. The Northeast also contains the famous megalopolis, a near-continuous urban corridor running from Boston through New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and all the way down to Washington, D.C., where nearly 50 million people live along this stretch of coastline. New England, the upper northeastern corner, is known for its rocky coastline, dense forests, and fierce winters. Head south and the climate changes dramatically. Welcome to the Southeast, a region of warm, humid summers, rich soil, and a complex history. The Appalachians continue here, tapering off in northern Georgia and Alabama, but the further south you go, the flatter the land becomes, eventually giving way to the Gulf Coastal Plain, a broad, low-lying area stretching along the Gulf of Mexico. Florida is almost entirely flat and surrounded by water, with the Atlantic on one side and the Gulf on the other. Its southern tip hosts the Florida Everglades, a vast subtropical wetland unlike anything else in North America. The Mississippi River, the spine of the continent, empties into the Gulf of Mexico near New Orleans, Louisiana, after traveling nearly 2,400 miles from its source in Minnesota. Move west from the Appalachians and you enter the American Midwest, often called the Heartland, the great interior of the country. The defining feature here is the Great Plains, an enormous, flat expanse of grassland stretching from North Dakota down to Texas, and America's agricultural engine, producing the corn, wheat, and soybeans that feed the nation and much of the world. The Midwest is also home to the Great Lakes, Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario. 5 massive freshwater lakes that together hold about 21% of the world's surface freshwater, with cities like Chicago, Detroit, and Cleveland growing up on their shores. The terrain here is largely the product of ancient glacier, enormous ice sheets that carved the land, flattened hills, and deposited rich, fertile soil across the region. Dipping south from the plains, we reach Texas and Oklahoma, a transitional zone between the flat grasslands and the arid southwest. Texas is the second largest state by area, stretching from the Gulf Coast in the east to the Chihuahuan Desert in the west, with everything in between: forests, plains, desert, and even mountains in the far west. The Red River and Rio Grande are two of the key waterways here, with the Rio Grande forming the entire southern border between Texas and Mexico. Now we enter one of the most visually dramatic regions of the country, the American Southwest, covering Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, and Utah. This is desert country. The Mojave, Sonoran, Chihuahuan, and Great Basin deserts all meet in this region, delivering scorching summers, sparse rainfall, and landscapes that look almost alien. But the crown jewel of the Southwest has to be the Grand Canyon, carved over millions of years by the Colorado River in northern Arizona, 277 miles long, up to 18 miles wide, and over a mile deep. It is one of the most awe-inspiring natural wonders on the planet. Utah's Colorado Plateau is equally spectacular, with sandstone formations at Bryce Canyon, Zion, and Arches, painted in reds and oranges, shaped by millions of years of erosion. Running like a spine through the western United States is the Rocky Mountain Range, stretching over 3,000 miles from New Mexico all the way through Montana into Canada. These are young, dramatic mountains, with dozens of peaks exceeding 14,000 feet. The Rockies form the Continental Divide, the line that determines which way water flows. Rain and snowmelt on the eastern side eventually flows to the Gulf of Mexico. On the western side, it heads toward the Pacific. States like Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana are defined by these peaks, offering world-class skiing, hiking, and some of the most breathtaking scenery in the country. Keep heading west and the mountains eventually give way to the Pacific coast, one of the most varied and beautiful coastlines in the world. California alone spans nearly 900 miles of coastline, and its geography is staggering in its diversity. The Sierra Nevada range runs down its eastern spine, home to Mount Whitney, the highest peak in the contiguous United States at 14,505 feet. Just 85 miles away sits Death Valley, the lowest point in North America at 282 feet below sea level. Nowhere else on Earth are these two extremes so close together. The Central Valley between the Sierra Nevada and the Coast Ranges is one of the world's most productive agricultural regions. Further north, Oregon and Washington are defined by dense rainforests, volcanic peaks including Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens, and a wild, rugged Pacific coastline. 2 states stand entirely apart from the rest. Alaska is the largest state by far, more than twice the size of Texas, a land of glacier, tundra, enormous mountain ranges, and more coastline than all other U.S. states combined. Denali, at 20,310 feet, is the tallest peak in North America. Then there's Hawaii, the only U.S. state located entirely in the tropics, sitting in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The Hawaiian Islands are volcanic in origin, formed over a hotspot in Earth's mantle. They're geologically young, incredibly biodiverse, and home to some of the most isolated ecosystems on the planet. So what makes American geography so remarkable? It's the sheer scale and variety. In a single country, you have Arctic wilderness and tropical islands, ancient deserts and young volcanic peaks, massive freshwater lakes and mile-deep canyons.